Little small brain freeze. Drink your water. Anyways, hi my loves. It is your girl Sonia and she is back with another YouTube video. My love, so today, I don't know what you're doing at this very moment, but I'm sure you're not busy, or if you are and you're just listening to me, that's okay too. I mean, today is going to be a long conversation, a motivational conversation too, because I love my girls and I love my community that shows me love, that is here. Guys, we have gone so far already, and you might call it crazy, delusional, or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. But we are up. We have gained a little more people in our family. So, but today I feel like this conversation is very much important and very much needed, and I'm going to go into detail about my life and the main question at the moment. The main question. Ooh, if I were to tell you. But anyways, yeah, grab your popcorn, hot Cheetos, fruit, your drink of choice, and sit down, because I'm going to tell you why I quit my job. And I'm going to be straightening my hair, drinking my hot tea. I don't know if you can see those. Yeah, can you see the fumes coming out of it? This tea is helping with something. Okay. So, we're going to start off by telling you what I was working and what field I was working in for the past 8 years, I would say. Yeah, 8 years. Your girl, I'm gonna be straightening my hair, guys. Your girl was a dental assistant. That's right. She was a dental assistant, and your girl loved that. She loved that job, that career. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you what a dental assistant does. So I'm going to over exaggerate it here, but a dental assistant makes the dental office run. If you ever gone to a dentist and you see the girl that calls your name, that takes your blood pressure, takes your x-rays, is there when the doctor is needing to diagnose or look at your teeth, or he calls her, the girl that's suctioning the water out of your throat, the girl that's pulling your cheek, the girl that's looking in sometimes, you know, the girl that is your emotional support while you're at the dentist, that is a dental assistant. That is, most people when they see her, sometimes they see her sitting down, or they assume that dental assistants sit down and they just assist the doctor and that's it. But the dental assistant is literally the core of the office of the dentist. And if any dentists are watching this, I'm sorry, I just had to say it. I had to say it, okay?
I don't like where this is going.
I didn't know that. When I was little, when I went into a dentist, I literally thought the dental assistant was just there to suction and help the doctor. Which, yeah, that's the main part job there, but no. I got into it and I really knew what they did. And I tell you, a dental assistant goes in, turns on all the lights of the building, turns on the vacuums that are needed, sets up the instruments, cleans the instruments, sterilizes the instruments, clean the rooms, sterilizes the rooms. I mean, I tell you, they do everything. Setting up, bringing the patients, dealing with the patients, being there for the patients. Now, let me tell you, I took my job very much serious. Not only was that a job, it was a vocation for me. I first wanted to be a lawyer because I wanted to help people. My whole life, my dad told me that, you know, I would make a good lawyer, so I started to believe it. And the reason why is because we got into a lot of arguments, and he felt like I always was, like, arguing. So, a lawyer's not just to argue, okay? It's not. So, basically, he told me that, and so I believed it. And I believed, oh, I'm going to be good at it. And I took interest in it. I loved crime. I loved everything about it. I don't know what it was when I was younger. I just loved it. So my father made me believe that, and I took it very much serious. And I went to high school, and I made sure that I made good grades, and all my classes were crime classes. And in my city, we were so beyond blessed to have a school that we went apart from. We would get on a bus and go to a different building, different location in our city. And it was like a school to be hands-on. So at first we started in because I did it for 3 years. So the first level was learning about it. Second level was starting to go to the courthouse. I was an intern at the courthouse. I really got to get a field of the law. And that is when I was like, pause. I don't want this life, because I saw a life of lawyers that, yes, if I truly wanted it, I would have gotten it, because if truly my vocation was to help people through the crime field, my heart would have been all for it, no matter what you're going through, no matter the debt, no matter anything. But knowing more about crime, it was just something
that I guess my heart couldn't handle.
And it's sad to say that, because we need more people to be tough and be able to handle that and be our superheroes in that area. But for me, that was not the case. I saw too much, and then I saw how lawyers were so stretched, were so in debt. I just felt like there needs to be a good balance between your personal life and your job. And so I'm going to moisturize, girls, because I need to moisturize. I'm using sunscreen right now. I saw too much and saw too much ugly in that. And I was like, nope, nope, that's not for me. So I was stuck. And there's a lot of people, and you should not be ashamed of being stuck, because this is your life and you only have one life. You should not be ashamed of being stuck at a teenage age, or, you know, like everybody expects you once you're in high school, you are a pre-adult. You're about to fly on your own, and people don't really think about it now, but that's when things start to get very much real. And so for me, I took that very serious. People expect you to know what you want to do in life. But that's not the case. Sometimes people are so forced when they're in high school, when they're young adults, when they're young teens, that they need to know what they want to do, because this life in America is about getting a job. And they don't teach us about how important it is to have a personal life balance and a work-life balance. People think that everything is job, and they dedicate their life in a fast-paced job thing, that they kind of lose it. And they don't know how to go back or how to find that balance. And it might be a little bit too late, you know? So, with that being said, I was stuck. And by stuck, I mean, once I decided I didn't want to be a lawyer, it was right after high school, that I wasn't going to go to law school. One, I think another reason mainly, and I'm glad it was a reason, is that my parents, it's not that they couldn't afford it, I just didn't want to put my parents into that, because they had to, you know, when you have to ask your parents for how much they make, so you put it in your college, and I just didn't want to go through that, where we knew at the time that we didn't have the funds at all, especially for law school. And I never wanted to tie myself down to money. I didn't want money to tie me down. I didn't want money to keep me away from living. So I didn't want to be in debt. I didn't want to work because I had no choice but to work hard because of debt, because I needed to pay off my loans. That's never the mindset I had, and a lot of people have that mindset, and that is okay if that's your mindset, but I feel like that's a terrible mindset to have, because you're being tied down. At the end of the day, you have to work, not because you want to work, not because you want to have nice things or whatever the plan might be, not because you want to travel, but because you're tied down to it. You have no choice but you owe somebody money. And that just, since I was little, I didn't like that. It didn't sit right with me. And some people were like, you can pay it off, and but that's the thing, you're tied down to it. So I'm just giving you a little backstory of how I ended up where I ended up, guys. So basically, I was working at McDonald's, and I was okay with that because, one, I was going to work really hard. I was living with my parents, really hard to save up money and have the time to just sit and think about what's my next step. Now, I'm not gonna lie, at some point I would think like, over time passed. I think I was at McDonald's for maybe more than a year, and I did start to think, what the heck am I going to do in my life? I still don't know what I'm going to do. I'm saving all this money for what, What am I doing? Sometimes you do feel stuck, and that's why I say stuck, because it's been a while and I still don't know, but some people do go through that, and I feel like that's okay, honestly. It's whatever time it takes, because this, like I say, and I will say time and time again, you only have one life, okay? Una vida, alrighty? And now that I think about it, I did have an angel, and that angel was my aunt. And my aunt I didn't really know what she did for some odd reason until high school, until she came to me. So she came to me while I was at work, and she'd be like, I just can't see you here. And to me, it was kind of like, was she talking about, like, is she trying to say this job is not a good job? Because to me, any job is a good job, and it humbles you. It doesn't matter what job you have a job, you're working hard. So I didn't care where I worked. I didn't care that I was working at McDonald's, and guess what, I was the best of the best at McDonald's. I didn't really care, really, truly. It shouldn't be an embarrassment. It's a job. Why is it embarrassing? So I kind of took it that way, but at first, then I realized that she just wanted the best for me, and that's what your family wants, and that's what your family does. And so she then was like, come and be a dental assistant. And I'm like, a dental assistant? In my head, I was like, no, that's a hard job. That's a serious career. That's a hard job. You're dealing with people's mouths. People's mouths. You're not just, you can mess up on a burger, on an order, and yeah, they'll be mad, but you can go back and fix that. We're talking about teeth. We're talking about health. No, I'm good. So that was a one time. And then every time we would see each other, she would still do it. She was very persistent. And I was just like, no. At some point, I don't know if I was tired working, she was like, she offered it, and I was like, okay, I'll try. So she's like, okay, you have to still go to the interview, but I know you'll get it because I am like the lead dental assistant there. I am trusted. I've been there for a long time, so my word means more than just a regular interview, But you need to do your part and your duty to, show up and have a chat with my boss and etc. and yada, yada, yada. Let me tell you, I was nervous. Your girl Sonia got ready, went on nice, didn't know what to say or do because she just got out of high school and she was just working, no experience. She was just working at fast food. So I go, and that's when I was young. I still didn't know about interviews. I didn't know what to say or do. And this guy looked like he was serious. He was business, okay? I've been to some interviews where it's supposed to be about business, but they're just kind of like, it's like a normal conversation. It's like, okay, what do you do? What's your name and whatnot? No, this guy was like, what do you bring to the table and stuff like really getting in there. I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way I'm getting this job. I kept stuttering. I was overthinking it, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, my aunt came through and he was like, oh, dude, she has no experience, yada yada. And she was like, let's take her under our wing. I know her. It's not just because she's my niece. It's because I know how hardworking this girl is. And shout out to my Aunt Josie, honestly. I know how hard this girl works. This girl will put her all. And so in the state of Texas that I know of, and maybe America, you know, don't quote me on all this, you don't have to go to school to be a dental assistant. If the dental office is able to take you in and show you all the ropes, you have 6 months to take the test and get your certification. You're not allowed to touch x-rays though. In those 6 months, you're not allowed to, that I know of. So I wasn't allowed to take any x-rays, yada yada. I had to wait till I got my certification and whatnot, and then I started to practice. But in my office, because we had like 20-30 assistants, because they had a good system going, they had like an x-ray tech. So then later on they did show me how to use x-rays, but they had an x-ray tech. And so yeah, so anyways, I go in, and when I tell you, this is where my journey started as a dental assistant. And this office was a pediatric office, and I am so beyond blessed, guys, so beyond. Like, I think about it and I am sad that I left this career, because I think into the past, and I would say my first job, and the job that my aunt had me in, it was pediatrics, was the best job I ever had. And there's a lot of jobs where you can't say that nowadays. There are a lot of places where you can't say that, because people don't learn that environment is so important, and people skills is so important, and being kind is so important, and being patient is so important. And that job had so many good qualities about it. We worked as a team. When people say, oh, we're a team, but they don't know the true definition. That group that I started with was a team, and I just fell in love. Let's take a break, because I need to drink my tea, guys. So that job was my first job ever. It was pediatrics. Sorry if I've repeated that again. It was pediatrics, so that means I worked with children all day, every day. And it was also a like a state one dental office. That means like we saw Medicaid, CHIP, and etc. So we saw like 80 to 100 patients a day. But like I said, we had a flow going, and it was so important that we had lots of assistants. So we had 2 doctors, 2 dentists, and they each have 1 main assistant, and they follow them to the hip, to the bone. So their main job is to follow him, get out, go to another exam, get out, take notes, get out, and then do the doctor's notes. And then those assistants had another assistant. And then that assistant had another assistant. So there was 3 assistants, and the rest were just helping and whatnot. So I would say we had 6 assistants in total. And then we had an assistant for like the x-rays and yada yada. So we did have lots of assistants, okay? It was nice. It was nice because we did work in a system, and it made everything flow, and it left room for improvement, and left room for teaching other assistants, and left room and space for everything, really. So that job, I was so happy because I had dentists, which is so important, dentists who took me under their wing, and in 6 months they showed me the whole ropes of everything. I was so scared, but they showed me every living thing, and they were so patient, so kind. And I hate when you go to interviews and they be like, yeah, our team is nice and whatnot. You go in there, they're the rudest people ever. And these dentists they took me under their wing, and I just don't know how to even be thankful about that, because let me just wait till I tell you. And so then I became the best of the best there. I then became one of their main assistants, and I had an assistant and they had an assistant. So my job was to just follow the dentist and then do dental notes and whatnot. I think my biggest accomplishment in that office, in the pediatric office, was the fact that I learned sedation. And sedation, we put kids like a conscious sedation. So it's like you're drunk, okay? You're conscious, but you don't have your whole 5 senses. That's what we did to the kiddos. So they were conscious, but they were still sedated. And it's a hard one because, like we always explain it, a drunk can be a happy drunk, an angry drunk, a calm drunk, or just a drunk in general. And so that's how we would explain it to the patient's parents. That's kind of how it works. And it was hard because it's kiddos. Sometimes they're sedated, so their hands are wobbly, they're all over, but they're still like angry. They're like, don't touch me, like we're trying to hook them, and they're like, or they're happy and they're laughing, which we can deal with. But sometimes they're laughing too much and they're moving their jaw. It's just hard. But it's so weird because I look at myself now, I'm like, I'm so afraid of a lot of things, and there's a reason for that. But back in the day, I was afraid of, like, every time I would go into a sedation, I was afraid because they're babies and we can't control them all the time, and we have to learn to have that heart. And truly, I think, and I will say this back and like, I will say this so much. Your dental office, if you're a dental assistant or a dentist, I don't care what you are, if you do not have patience with your patients, I understand you got a flow going, but if you actually do not have patience with your patient in the chair, you will not succeed. And I'm the first to see offices bloom because of patience, and offices fell because of patience, or the patient go off on a doctor because of patience, because of not being compassionate. So one thing I love about this office is that the doctors had more than enough than patients. I would see that they would wait till this was ready. When their patient was we were at a good spot with the patient, you know? Because at the end of the day, our job is to, fix whatever's going on here, but also make sure that the patient leaves healthy. The patient is okay when they leave. That was our main goal. So we would go in and I would see these doctors just be so patient and waiting, and talking to the kiddos even when they were sedated. And it just taught me so much about patience, and it taught me that that's what you need. And that's why I became the best dental assistant, because I incorporated the way the people around me were with people in my dentist, that I was like, wow, I want to be that. I want to do that. And I did. I took it with me everywhere I went. And I don't care how frustrating the situation was. I was that no matter what. And so I would pray. Back in the day, even though I was scared, I would pray and I would do it. And the girls that were new there, or the people that still weren't ready or felt like they wouldn't do sedation, be like, Sonia, how do you do it? How do you do it? Because that is not easy to be an assistant. Because when you're an assistant for sedation, you also have to deal with the kid. You and the doctor are the ones dealing with the kid, talking with the kid, coaching the kid, and etc. And I would just be like, you just do it. At the end of the day, you get into your mind and you're like, at the end of the day, do you want this patient to go home? Do you want this patient to get out of pain? That's what you tell yourself. You talk and coach to yourself, and you're like, I can do this, because if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? So that was my mentality, and I feel like my mentality changed over time, and I'll tell you why. It was a place where I was like, wow, your girl can do the hardest of hard. She was number one. I truly felt like I was number one, and not to be cocky, but because there were so many times and so many accomplishments where I brought myself down. Every time I brought myself down, it was too hard. Or in the beginning, I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I was shocked at the end of 2 years there, almost 3 probably. I was the doctor's main assistant. I was the assistant the doctor called for, he preferred. I was the assistant where they relied on, and they were like, she's the best of the best, go ask her, you know. And it came with time and practice and kindness and patience. And it's good to know that you're a person that people feel comfortable with, people feel loved by, people feel that radiating kindness that people need when they go to the dentist. Because let me tell you, people have a big fear, and kids do too, of the dentist, because there are hard things that you have to do and endure in a dental chair. So I totally get that. But that place was amazing. Now, reason I left that place, because I felt like I could have been there for 8, 9, 10 years. Really, truly. I truly did feel that. Reason I left that place is because your girl here, Sonia, felt so, the environment was so clean, was so beautiful, was so positive, it was good. I can endure physical pain. I can do it. I don't know what it is. My feet can hurt, but I'll go. Because at the end of the day, I can go home and I'll rest, and someone can massage my feet, and we good. I can go get a massage and we good. We Gucci. Yeah. What Sonia cannot do, especially because she learned from this place, and the reason why she left, is if you have terrible management, if you have a terrible boss, you're not going to last, and I don't want it. I don't want it. Get it out. Who wants that? So we got a new manager where I was like, maybe it's just a 1 thing, 2 thing. Nope. This manager, we already do a lot, but she was exceeding more. And even when you felt like you were giving your all, and you were just trying your best to be the best or do the best, she was so negative, she would bring you down in 2 seconds. It was like, no, you're not doing the best. You need to do better. You need to do this. You need to do that. And then every time you had to go do something personal, it was like she would question it. It was just so toxic. She was toxic. I'm just going to say it. Manager was toxic. You got one bad apple and she can infect everybody else. And that's kind of how it went. People didn't want to be there. People didn't feel appreciated, and they would leave, and then we get new people based on her judge. I left, and I was sad because the doctors there was new doctors too that came in. So I worked with two of the OGs, and then 2 other new ones came in because the OGs were there long since day 1. And so I get it. It's time to move on. And the new ones came in, and they were nice and kind and loving. And I miss that. I miss all the doctors that were there. I don't know where they came from, maybe heaven. I didn't want to leave that environment. I didn't want to leave those type of doctors, because when people say, oh, I had a bad experience because the doctor, he was so mean, yada, 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 it's true. If you think you have mean doctors, imagine how the doctors treat the dental assistants. So there's places where it's crazy because of that. Anyways, I move on. And yeah, I think what I hate the most is moving on and finding a new place. It's scary. It's a scary world. So then I move on. This is my second dental location. And this second dental location, even though in my previous one we did work with adults every now and then, we didn't work with adults all day every day. So this was a general dental place. So that means you see everybody, old, new, in the middle type of people. You see it all, but you don't see a lot of kids. I was new. And so I went into a place, and I applied. And was I nervous? Yeah, because we're trying something new. We're with new people. We're with new doctors. Yada, yada, yada. I entered this place, and this is where
Sonia was ruined.
This is where it all started. And this is where it blew up in flames for me. It went downhill, okay? For years to come. You know, they just interviewed me, interview went well, and I entered this place. not realizing. Now, let me tell you something. In every dental place that you go, every place has a system. And that system makes things work. And like I said, my previous system was we really worked as a team, and we had a lot of people, and they had a good system. And that's why I believe that they were successful, and they still are successful till this day. Maybe, I don't know if they are successful to this day, but I know that they still have offices open. So to me, that's being successful, but who knows? So this second dental location, they didn't have, let's say, a now age system. And I say that because they work with dental instruments that are back in the day, and instruments I've never worked with, because all the previous instruments I worked with were easy to use and different names and yada yada, and just things that I didn't know that that were gonna change later down the road. So I go into this place, and it's old-fashioned, period. That's all I'm gonna say. Old-fashioned. And look, there's nothing wrong with some old-fashioned. The wrong is when you go from computers, using computers every day, with using only computers in the front desk and everything in the back, and for x-rays where that's it. But we use paper. How I used to do notes was through the computer. How I used to put in a lab or make an order was through computer. Oh no, we used paper. We did notes through paper. We charted. We say, if the doctor said, oh, he has a cavity here and there, you would usually put that in the computer and plug it in. No, not here, baby. Not here. We use paper. You have to write it down, surfaces and all that. So I was just like in shock. I was like, oh Lord. So the first day, I'll explain it with my first day, because that's where I was awoken, and where it all went downhill. So this doctor was old-fashioned. He was an older gentleman. He was working on retiring. Well, this old dentist was the most evil thing alive. Evil. Because I walk in, and the dental lead is also evil, and the other dental assistant was around my age, but she was also evil. Everybody in the mamas was evil there, I promise you. And I come in with like my previous attitude, and like all happy and hardworking, ready to work, ready wherever you need me, I'll be there. So so they weren't really communicating. I guess people don't communicate there or talk. Even their schedules was paper. We had a backboard where you stick in papers, and you're like, what patient? Okay, we're going to highlight that because the patient is currently here. Literally highlighters. So anyways, I wasn't understanding anything. They threw me into a room. They said, do you know how to do this and that? I'm like, yes. So they threw me into the room. I did what I had to do. Then they said, go get the doctor and continue. Go get the doctor. And what the procedure we were doing was cementing a permanent crown. If you know what a crown is, I'll show a picture. It's a thing that goes, we shave your tooth down a little bit, because if you had a big cavity, we shave it down, put a crown, and that you have something to chew on that looks like a tooth, the color of a tooth, and it's like you never had any problem there. But we were cementing that, and that is easy. You cement it, you clean it, you take a picture, all is good, bye-bye. Well, that's what Sonia taught. So here's Sonia. She does her job, then gets the dentist. Here comes the dentist. He's very like dry, doesn't really, I get it, I guess, because my other dentists were, good morning, all right, we're ready to do this, let's go. Good attitude, but I guess you can't get that everywhere, right? So here we go. I am nervous, okay? I didn't set up the room, the other girl did. Didn't really explain nothing because I thought I had it, and I didn't have time really to look at the system or anything, because we run on time. You gotta hurry, you have other patients. So there I am, because I thought this was gonna be easy. There I am, the doctor's like, okay, alrighty, give me the cement. Where's the cement? Where's the cement, doc? Like, it's right there. I'm like, oh, what? Where? And he's like, it's right there. And I'm like, where? So it's this little contraption. It looked like a pill. It looked like a pill, a little contraption. And then there's a little gun. A little, whatever, silver gun. And that little contraption, you put it on a little machine, and that little machine shakes it like for 50 seconds. And then you put that fast in the gun, you squeeze it, and that's the cement. Man, we don't got time for that. What the heck is this contraption? What the heck? I've never done that. I've always dealt with something like this. Okay, we're using makeup as an example. We would just squeeze and squeeze it in there. That was cement. The cement is strong. Okay, guys? So don't think we're just using cement and it's like, what? That doesn't look like it would be strong. The cement is strong. But no, we had a 1-piece, a 2-piece, a 3-step, and we had to hurry. And I'm like, I don't know how to use this. And he's like, you just take it out the wrapper, put it in, click the start button, shakes, bring it, put it in. Explaining, but with a bad attitude. I'm like, who hurt you this morning? It's too early for that bad attitude. So Sonia's already like, Sonia's kind-hearted. I would say she was a little naive back in the day, but kind-hearted and good-spirited, and that was being broken down day one. She was nervous. She was already getting a little sad. She felt like she was questioning her self-worth, her talent. She was questioning if she even knew how to be a dental assistant at this point. Finally did it. We put on the crown and yada yada. We continue. You know, he leaves. He puts the floss in there. We clean up the cement with floss around the gums and around the crown. And then he leaves and he's like, you know how to do this step, right? You take out the floss and yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah. Well, I didn't know the cement settled like in 1 second. So I'm there letting it settle a little and cleaning. While it's setting, I'm cleaning around the gum. And when I go to try to pull it up, because you're supposed to pull it up to get cement in between from the tooth and the crown. When I go and pull, because you can take out the floss, even if it got stuck, you can pull it out. Instead of pulling it up, you can pull it out. Well, there goes Sonia trying to pull it up. Pull it up and it won't come up. As much as I try, it won't come up. It is stuck. And yeah, I can pull it out, but the whole point, like I said, it is stuck. This thing
is stuck.
And because I just knew I was in trouble. I just knew. So I go and get the doctor. I'm going to say, hey, you know, I can't get the floss out. And he's like, well, try again. So I go try and I'm like, ugh. I go tell him and he's like, really? Gets up with a bad attitude, huffing and puffing. I guess that's normal too. He goes in the room and he is like, you can sense the tension, like literally. And the patient can sense it too. Let me tell you, patient can too. So he has a bad attitude. He's like, really? You let it set? I'm like, I'm just dying inside at this point, guys. I'm embarrassed. I'm sad. I'm on the verge of tears. He huffs and puffs, gets out. He pulls the floss and whatnot. And he goes, gets these tools because you can get tools. It's just like, it's just going to take more time. And what dentist wants to do that? So I guess that's why he huffed and puffed and made me feel, belittled me. And he brought it, huff and puff while he was doing it, making mean comments, negative comments in front of the patient, guys, by the way. And so finally, everything is clear. And I take the x-ray and I go. And as soon as I go, I hear him bring the lead dental assistant and the other assistant, and he makes it loud and clear. He was not hiding this baby. He was not going to hide what he was about to say. He's like, is she new? Like, she looks like she has no experience. And they said she had experience. And they said this and that. That girl has no experience. The way she's working. I just had to do this. I had to do that. Do not I do not want her to assist me anymore. You hear me? You do not let her assist me anymore. At this point, I had a knot in my throat. I was about to cry and I was about to give up, but I'm not a quitter. I'll tell you something about myself. I'm not a quitter, even if I'm emotional, even though I'm about to cry. I go into the room and I clean the room and I suck it up, buttercup. But I was sad, I was broken, and since that day, I was anxious every day. 3 months go in of the same torture. I was getting better and learning new things, learning their system, but I still wasn't good. 3 months go in. I'm still learning how to write their notes because there was a system, especially with him. Every time we would get out of the room and I would finish my notes, we would go to a certain location to finish our notes. He would come by and be like, scratch off all my stuff, all my hard work, all that I tried at least. Because even if you don't know how to do something, it's about trying also. So all that I tried, he would scratch it off. And I wanted to cry again. So anyways, it was torture. Every day I was anxious. Every day I wanted to cry because I was scared of what was he going to do? What was he going to say? Even though I would throw myself in there and I would risk myself, hear some negative words, I really would, and I would do it, but I was living in fear, living in anxiety, living in sadness, and so much where my eczema would flare up. I had eczema around my eyes, so much where I would cry, so much where I would stress. It was bad, and I didn't realize that that was the start of where I would lose control. I would lose control of myself, my body, my worth. The way it ended kind of was that I left the job, but there was a situation before where I did try to leave 3 months in, and I told the boss, I was like, I'm done. And I told her, I was like, you have people who you're never going to succeed because the dentist is so mean, so impatient, and nobody wants to stay around with that. And she took it serious, and I told her I was going to leave, but she didn't let me. She said, I've never heard anybody actually do this. She said, go home, take all the time you need. You need 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. It's fine. Take it. I will talk to them, but I want you to work for us. I really do. I can tell the way you carry yourself, the way, etc., right? I did come back, and I stayed for about 2 years, and no, things were better because I was learning their system. I was doing things, and I was becoming number one. Though the dentist was nice to me and better to me, I was still anxious every day because he could have had a bad day, which he had plenty of those, and he would take it out on you. And the lead wasn't nice, and oh my goodness, it was just a disaster. I finally left it, got into another dental place. Now this is my third dental office. This is during COVID. Now, I did work in that other previous office during COVID, and I wasn't let go because, like I said, I was number one, so that's what they always prefer. But I was furloughed, so if y'all don't know what furloughed is like, I guess you're hired, but you're fired. You're fired, but they'll call you when they start opening things up. At some point, I did get furloughed. But before, I was just working on days of emergency. So patients had pain, that's when we would see them. Anyways, I left that place. I'm going into my third place. We're going through COVID. At the end of COVID, but still going through COVID, very much so. And therefore, I was working like in a small town, and I got COVID there. And we weren't so busy, but we were really busy where it was just me, and I didn't like it. I literally was the only assistant in that office, and though we weren't super busy, when we did get busy, I dealt with it all. All of it. I saw like 10 patients all at once, and maybe I'm exaggerating it, but that's how it felt. I was doing everything that I told you we do, and then seeing the patients, and then more. And so it was getting tiring, and then I ended up getting COVID. And the reason I realized is when we wore our COVID mask, because we had to have everything on, guys. I'll show you pictures. I had to have a whole hat on, a whole system, a whole face, whatever. Y'all know how it goes, mask. But put on there's a certain mask, it's like a level 3 where it's more built in, so where things don't come in and out. It's rare. But I put in that mask, and it is a little bit harder to breathe in that mask, but you could still breathe through it. So you could still breathe. But I put on that mask, and then I was assisting, and I felt like I was gasping for air and I could not breathe at all. And I was so scared because I couldn't breathe to the point where I felt like I was going to pass out right there while I was suctioning and assisting the doctor. So I went home and I was like, oh no, I need to, whatever. I need to go. And anyways, the manager was mean, didn't believe that I had COVID. I don't have time for that no more. I was dealing with every office, there was something. I was either alone and overworking, or I was dealing with bullying. I was dealing with being brought down. I was dealing with people bringing me down, and I was just starting to question my whole life and starting to question my worth ethic. I was just questioning my worth. And I was scared, always so jumpy of what people were going to say or do to me, because I was taking so much for years. And by the way, in between COVID, we were also getting married. So I was dealing with COVID, with jobs bullying me, with bringing me down, me physically doing all the work, never being appreciated. My husband literally was my rock through those situations. And I feel so bad because at first I'm like, am I crazy? I'm bringing so much to the table, but he was literally my rock, my angel, so patient. And then I wanted my dream wedding. I said, if you want to marry me during these times, I still want my dream wedding. And these were kind of where the times were calming down with COVID. COVID was getting ready, like there was vaccines and whatnot. So we decided to Uber, DoorDash, Instacart. We did it all. We did all of them. And we would do it together, and we would do it every day after work, or when I wasn't working, he would pick me up and we would do it together, because after work, he can get tired, sleepy, etc., yada yada. It was the hardest times of our lives, but we had each other, and I thank the Lord, because I don't know, I truly do not know how I would have survived anymore. How exhausting it was. And I think it was exhausting for everybody, really, especially during COVID. But I felt like in my time, I had a lot of buildup going with me and following me. And I was losing control of the way that I was handling my emotions, the way I was handling stress. After doing DoorDash and all that, I finally decided we were doing good. We were at the final, making our wedding payments. We were at the final days of getting married. I decided to get a job. I had a friend hit me up and decided to get more like a private job, like not a place where it has a lot of offices, but just a place that has one or two. And so I got into one, and the start of it was really good. When I needed a day, especially when I was getting married, they gave it to me, and they were more high technology, so new technology. And so I could do computer. I had to learn their crown making machine. They had tons of scanners to scan your mouth. I go into this place, and though it's a bit ton better, I think this was my last, and I could tell. And I lasted there for almost 3 years, but this is where it all ended. And I think where it all ended was because I was being overworked. I was carrying everything that I had in the past. I was lost, and I didn't even realize I was lost. I was anxious. I was depressed. I was getting overweight because I didn't know. I was not cooking or doing none of that. I get into this new job, and now remember, this is my 4th location now. I'll never say names here, but for some reason, this company could not keep employees. I don't know what it was, but they could not keep him. And so there was a point where it felt like it was 6 months straight of working by myself. I was surprised that they didn't use me as front desk. I was surprised, but I'm glad, because that would kill me. But that's when it killed me off, because I would go, and I was having to see almost every patient, and we were full. We didn't really change much. I would have to go, and literally I forgot to do my hair, guys. I will continue, I promise. I like to concentrate. I guess I can't do 2 things at once. Oh my goodness, let's just do it. I am not the type of person that will say, no, I give up here. Never been me. So I always kept an attitude like, they would sometimes ask me, are you good? Are you good? I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I was dying inside. I was dying. My feet were hurting so much. I've been the biggest I've been in my whole life. I've always been 180, so I've always skinny curvy. But ever since the stress of all where it started in the second office, I wasn't cooking right or eating right. I swear it started from that year, eating fast food. I'm not exaggerating. Fast food every day. So not only was I dealing with anxiety, all that, just not eating well, your gut and your brain are connected. So it was making everything worse. It was making me feel ugly, yucky. And it's funny because the first year where all of that started, or that second office started, I didn't notice this. So though I felt it, I didn't notice that that's what it was turning to. That's the damage that was being caused, and I was taking it with me. And so in this office, the same thing. I was going, and yes, I was being appreciated, but I wasn't being appreciated if they didn't see what I was going through and they didn't use their common sense. And even though someone says I'm good, it's maybe because they're trying to stay positive within themselves. It's maybe because they're trying to fight it, you know? You have to see that some people, they'll never show it, but in your surroundings, you can clearly tell what's going on. You know what I mean? So I would go in, see patients, get the doctor, then go help the other patient take x-rays, go from there, and then tell the doctor that they're ready, and then dismiss the other patient. Or if they were doing same day, go set up for same day. Now the doctor was dealing with the same thing, but I was having to do more. I feel like I have to do more because at the end of the day, the doctor can go in their room and whatnot, and she still expected me to do notes. So I had to go clean the rooms, do sterilization, and do notes. Do it all. The doctor could at some point be like, I'm going to help you with notes. And I could go in and be like, the notes are done. Especially if they're doctor's notes. Technically, even it's supposed to be a doctor's job, but they put that job onto dental assistants. Even though they're doctor's notes, they put it onto dental assistants. In that time that I was going what I could have, that dentist could have been like, the one thing I could do is go in my room and do notes for her. Do my notes for her. No, I would have to do that at the end of the day. Every time. I was just killing myself, just going back and forth for 6 months. At first, the first year was great. I had help. The second year it broke me. It was enough. It's like I had enough. And then I started to have issues. And that's where my polyp situation came. But I truly believe it was because of stress. Because stress, I don't know if you know, but stress can cause so much damage here and in your body. Stress can be your deathbed. Stress can. You'll be so surprised what you do to your body, and it goes into fighter mode. It goes into, oh no, what's going on? Why is, like it's like jumping, it's going crazy. And though I was trying to stay alive and keep going, because I was just glad that even though I didn't have a perfect dentist, she was an all right dentist. She didn't treat me bad, didn't use negative words, and so I was okay where I was at the moment. So even though that was the situation, everything finally caught up to me. What I mean by that is the stress, the anxiety, the physical strain caught up to me to where it affected me health-wise. And though I don't know if you're in a situation, whoever's listening to me, where it's kind of like my situation where that job, it's exhausting, but you're still pushing through because of many reasons. I'm the person here to tell you, find another job. I know starting over is not good. Or find another way to make money. Or give yourself a break if you can. Because I had started to lose control of my anxiety to the point where I was scared of everything. I was scared of the way my husband was driving. I was controlling everything, trying to make me feel at ease. Every living thing I was scared of. I don't know what I could tell you what I was scared of, but that was out of control with my anxiety. My physical health, I would get headaches. But not just headaches, migraines. And migraines to the point where it made me nauseous and I felt like throwing up. Migraines where I felt like I couldn't drive because I felt dizzy most of the time. And then came in this situation that I want to talk about. It's mainly towards women, and people won't believe me because I kept it so... I normalized it and I made it seem like there was nothing wrong. I started bleeding. So you know how women have periods. I had a period. I started my 4-year everyday period on my 3rd office. I started to bleed every day. Every single day. I was bleeding. And some people are going to be like, especially girls are going to be like, what? What do you mean? Wait, did I hear that right? Yeah. Yes. I was wearing pads every day. It was part of like when you buy milk or groceries or toilet paper. I was a part of my groceries every time. It was a part of it. And at first I was like, because I have had like a normal, like not normal periods before. But I normalized it because of fear to go to the doctor of what was going on. Or just like maybe this is normal because of my past periods where they lasted a little longer. But it was getting out of hand. It was getting out of hand to the point where sometimes they were painful because balls of clots would come out. And I have pictures, but I just don't think I'm going to show them on here. I don't think people want to see that. Clots. And it would hurt when they would come out. But I was bleeding. When I tell you, I ran through all my underwear because when I was bleeding, it was just heavy. That a lot of blood would get on them. Pants, a lot of blood would go through. I was living on diapers. I was living on period diapers because it was just so much blood and constantly bleeding that I just had to buy period diapers. And because of my fear, because of my anxiety, I didn't want to go to a doctor. And I was working like that. I was working like when I told you my 4th last job. I was working by myself and I was working physically hard and I was working as I was bleeding every day. And I want to cry just thinking about it. Because I cannot believe that I put myself through something like that. I can't believe that I went through all that and I was okay because I was losing my self-worth. Don't lose yourself for a job. I learned bad habits, and one of them was I felt like I needed my job to feel worthy. Because in today's society, it's like, oh yeah, what are you? What do you do? That's like kind of one of the first questions they ask. And you're like, oh, I am this, I do this. And they're like, high status, I see, wow. They never ask you, how are you as a human being? Who are you? We define people nowadays by the job they got. And I was living on that society standard of, I was proud that I had a hard job. I was proud that I was number one. I was proud, but truly down inside, I loved that job because I loved helping people with their fears in the dental job, in the dental chair. I loved doing that. I loved being there for people. But I also loved the status that came with it. And I forgot to love myself. So, like I said, this one job, they were good with giving people time and letting whatever. So they did give me a break, and I did find out that I indeed have a polyp. Now, I will put what a polyp is. And a polyp is kind of like fibroids, kind of like something that grows in your uterus wall or etc. Like I said, I'll put it up here. And it grows, and there's many reasons to it. I feel like weight gain, stress, and there's more reasons. But I had 2 reasons why I feel like that polyp showed up on my 3rd job. And that's because in my 2nd job, I came with stress, anxiety, and then I carried that on. And then COVID happened, and then there was more. And I didn't realize how crazy stress, anxiety, depression can change your life and actually affect you within and physically. And a polyp showed up, and a polyp has also been making it difficult for us to have babies. And I know that's the reason. Because when they looked at my ovaries, they were like, everything is healthy. Your ovaries are healthy. And that was my concern. Are my ovaries okay? And she was like, your ovaries are healthy, but it's that one thing. And I was like, what do I do? And the doctor was like, we have to do surgery. Remove it and clean around it. But for some odd reason, the doctor, I didn't trust the doctor. The way she came in was more like, hello, bye, type of deal. And something inside me just wasn't giving me at ease. Go in for a surgery just to take out and scrape. There's a lot. I did my research, and there's a lot of complications with that too. But I also did my research that it can go away on its own. And it can go away with not stress, not this, eating healthy, losing weight. And so I made it my mission. That was the last straw. That was a wake-up call. I was like, this is it. I don't care what my family says. I don't care what my job thinks of me. I don't care what my husband approves of. I need to take control of my life. I need to take my life back. I need to bring that light outside. I need to bring that light within me. I need to be me again, and I need to be healthy. I need to be the healthiest version of myself that I lost 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I lost it. And I want to cry, but I'm not going to. 8 freaking years of this. I would say less, because that first job wasn't, it was my dream. It was heaven. So I did. And to answer all your questions, Sonia, did quit her dental assistant career. And if you didn't know all this, you know it now. I'm putting myself first. And what's the question? What do you do now? I do this. I'm fighting for this. I stay at home, and I'm becoming the best version of myself, and I'm focusing on me. And I'm not perfect. Some days I have low days, but I have better days than anything else. The low days are me fighting. But I have better days. I have no stress anymore. No stress. I have learned that finances aren't going to be the reason why I stress either. And I have learned that you just adjust. You move things around here and there, and things will get better. My husband, I got to thank this man, and I got to thank God mainly, because he put an angel in my life. Because my man, not every husband would do this. But my man, every time I fell, he was there. And now that I need him more than anything, he has picked up his big boy pants, put them on, and he's become the man He's been the man that I've needed. He is a man that I just can't believe it. He has helped me so much by saying, focus on you. What person can, at the end of the day, be a provider and then tell you, focus on you? And I don't want to lose myself for me, but I especially don't want to lose myself for him. I don't want to crumble and him see me crumble anymore. He has seen me crumble for about 5 years. And he's been there for me, and he's fought for me and for us. And so now he's like, I will take care of us. Please take care of you. For us. Take care of you. And I am. And I am, though, a lemonade creator. And I did start making money on lemonade. I am under the home category, so I post, you know, home things, but I also, it's like a Pinterest / Instagram. So I love it because it's very clean, very healthy, very just fun. And sometimes I do post outfits there, or just things here and there about me on there, about YouTube and stuff like that. But if you do want to follow me on Lemonade and see kind of what I do there, I do get paid there. Not crazy much, but I am a believer that when it starts to grow more, maybe, or I start to grow followers, maybe the amount of maybe I'll get paid more. But just to wrap things up now here, I just wanted to say that this is my story, and I hope it inspires you to do what your heart desires, but also read your body, read your emotions. There's nothing wrong with feeling the way you feel, and I had so much trouble trying to accept how I felt. I would fight it so much, even when I was screaming, stop, 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 stop. I was just like, you know what? No, we're gonna keep going. I gotta take care of my husband. I gotta bring money in. And even with all this money we were making, I was still worried about money. So at the end of the day, right now, yes, do we live in a tough world? But trust me, everything is mental. A lot of our problems is mental. A lot of it is trauma. A lot of it is just work that we need to work on ourselves. The only people, we want to blame somebody for something that we went through. And that's still me. But one thing we can't do is we can't blame people or situations. At the end of the day, I got to blame myself for putting myself through all of that. The second year where I started to feel thrown down and punched mentally by people bringing me down, I should have walked out. When I did walk out, I should have stayed out. I should have quit the dental world a long time ago. But because of society, I wanted to keep going. Because of my anxiety, I wanted to keep going to make money. No. Life is too short and you only got one. You might call me a preacher here. Call me whatever. But I truly, truly want to reach out to anybody behind this camera that feels like they've had enough. This is your sign right now. What I'm telling you right now. Whatever it is. Don't use excuses. Don't use money. Don't use any. Do it. If you can, do it. Or find a different way. But at the end of the day, you only have one life to live. And if you cause yourself so much harm, self-harm, you're not going to be able to live the life that you're supposed to live. So my message to you is love yourself more. To want more for yourself, and to want a better life for yourself, and to just live this life that God has blessed you with. Because you only got one, love. You only got one. And I don't care. It's like the devil knows that what I'm doing. That I'm working on myself. Because it's been heaven on earth lately. It's not perfect. but it's been nice. And lately I've had family members attack me for my decision. And at first I reacted like I usually react, like carrying what they say and crying and being in anger. And then I realized what was going on. Again, I was reading my emotions. I was like, oh girl, you doing the same thing. The same thing, carrying what people say. Yes, they're family, and all of us wants the approval of family, and sometimes that's why we do things. Also for the approval of family. But you can love them from afar. You can love them no matter what. But at the end of the day, they don't live in your body. They don't live here. At the end of the day, only you know what's best for you. So you do what you gotta do for you. So at the end of the day, I let it go. But all I gotta say to my family is, if you're watching through here, is I love you. You support me, I love you even more. If you don't, I still love you. I really do. But at the end of the day, all I want y'all to understand is I was in a bad spot to where I felt like dying. Stress, anxiety can do that, and you gotta be careful what you say to other people and how you act around them. It's not your job, but you have to be careful. You have to carry yourself in a world that's filled with anger, money. You gotta fill this world with peace and love and kindness. There's too many of all that ugly stuff. Let's fill it with too much of all the good. So my loves, this was my story. I hope this helped you, inspired you, motivated you. I love you, my loves. Your girl's got to go cook for her husband. It is so fun. But anyways, if you want any more of this content or you have any more questions, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, my loves.